what did happen to the last 10? I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again. It's kind of funny that the more we pass time, the more we need to set them rewind. And 19 was the year I had to leave you, but now I'm seeing all the signs. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours again.
This is the Canadian border. It's Canada right there. We're at the Belly River Trailhead, Waterton Glacier International Peace Park. This is the US section. We're gonna drive about a half mile that way, park up there at the Lee Ridge Trailhead. Good morning, it is September 1st, 2024. We're parked on the Chief Mountain Highway, a half a mile from the Canadian border behind us, and we're gonna hike back about 150 yards this way to the Lee Ridge Trailhead, and we're gonna hike the Lee Ridge Trail to the Gable Pass Trail, which will be between Gable Mountain as well as Chief Mountain and some others along the way. Might get over to Slide Lake, might hike a little bit down towards the Belly River Valley, but that's where we're gonna head today. This is a view of Chief Mountain from Chief Mountain Highway, also known as Montana Highway 17. So about 150 yards back up the road, you see these two little orange signs and the Lee Ridge Trail. We started hiking on the Lee Ridge Trail just south of the Canadian border, up to the Gable Pass Trail. Once we made it to the trail junction, we climbed up on some rocks and had a nice lunch with excellent views of Chief Mountain as well as down into the Belly River Valley. We hiked over to get some really good views of Mount Cleveland, which is the highest point in Glacier National Park, and then headed back down the Lee Ridge Trail out to Chief Mountain International Highway to the Jeep. So the first about 4 miles of the Lee Ridge Trail is in the cover, and then a couple miles walking up to Gable Pass Trail, start to get some views. So we got about 4 miles in the timber, and then another couple miles up to Gable Pass and over maybe to the Belly River. So the Lee Ridge Trail is pretty well maintained, and like we said, it's about 4 miles in the timber, and very infrequently traveled. There was nobody, no other cars at the trailhead. Expect that we may not see anybody on the trail today, which would be pretty cool. So we're getting some elevation and finally getting some views. This is our first really good look at Chief Mountain. Unfortunately for us, we left our GPS in the Jeep because it wasn't working properly. So we won't have super accurate mileage and elevation. We've emerged from the trees, and pretty high UV index today, so we put on some sunscreen. And the smoke is supposed to blow in around 2, but right now we're doing okay with the smoke factor, and it's blowing in from the south. They emerge from the trees, and there's this tundra-like landscape, which is pretty cool. Peaks in almost every direction. So the trail somewhat disappears in the tundra, but plenty of cairns, and there's a little bit of a worn path up that you can follow. I'm going to hang it right towards the camera here. On the left. There you go.
Sure.
Almost to the top, to the Gable Pass Trail. We may head down this ridge so we can look into the Belly River Valley, which is right over there. There might be some pretty good views over there. So we just made it to the Gable Pass Trail. So we hiked about 2 miles here into these trees, and then about 4 miles that way into those trees, and right on the other side of that is Canada. Over here we have Chief Mountain, and right over here is Gable Pass and Slide Lake. Over this way, Belly River Valley, which is probably where we're gonna head, but I think first we're gonna have lunch right up in here, and Kim's being distracted by climbing on rocks. So this is typically a very windy pass, especially since it's on the east side of the park. So we looked for a day that's not windy, and it's not windy at all. It's fantastic, but there are these tundra gnats, is what I'm dubbing them. And there's no breeze to blow them away, so it makes it a little challenging. But anyways, this is where we're going to have lunch up above Gable Pass Trail Junction. Well, I've seen worse spots for lunch.
Cheers.
So we're finishing up lunch, and I think our plan is going to be to head down the Gable Pass Trail this way over towards the Belly River Valley. We're just going to get up to this peak, take a peek down. Then I think we're going to come back and then walk back down the Lee Ridge Trail this way, which kind of goes to these trees, and then about 4 miles out through the timber. But I think that might be our plan for the day. Yes. Made it. We're gonna go get our sneak peek into the Belly River Valley up here. Trail Junction. We had lunch up there on that peak. We did make it out to that point and back. And again, now we're gonna drop off this. It's about 2 miles down to the timber, and then 4 miles out to Chief Mountain Road. And they call it Chief Mountain Road because that's Chief Mountain. We've seen similar ground like this coming off of the north slope of Pegan Pass as well. Very similar. Almost to the tree line, and we know that when we make it to the tree line, we've only got about 4 miles left. This is kind of our last look at these peaks with the blue skies before we head into the timber. I like walking in timber, but those peaks are pretty good to look at. Kimberly is emerging from the Lee Ridge Trail back to Montana 17, also known as Chief Highway. How far down is our Jeep?
150 yards.
Sweet. There is the vehicle on the Chief Mountain Highway. I think before I said Chief Highway. Montana 17. Canada, 0.5 miles that way. We're back at the pullout of Chief Mountain Highway. We hiked, what did you say, 15, 16 miles along Lee Ridge up to, what's the name of the trail that we hooked up with?
Gable Pass.
Gable Pass Trail. That was, we know that that's 6 miles up and 6 miles down, and we did a couple of miles along the Gable Pass trail. We actually didn't go to Gable Pass. We went over to, or toward the Belly River, because that's kind of cool over there. But that's what we did today, and nice to get in here September 1st. The other thing about this trail, we saw 2 groups up at the trail junction, and then we saw maybe 1 or 2 groups when we were coming out on the way in. Others we didn't see anybody else on the trail, and no grizz, which is awesome. So this is Chief Mountain from the highway driving in. We were on the other side of that, hiked up the backside, and then right up to the base of these peaks right over in here.
At 29 and I find myself wondering what did happen to the last 10. I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again. It's kind of funny that the more we pass time, the more we need to set the rewind. And 19 was the year I had to leave you, but now I'm seeing all the signs. Is this